There are multiple ways to create knowledge articles in ServiceNow depending on your permissions. We're going to focus on the process that would be used for a general fulfiller, not somebody with elevated knowledge positions such as a knowledge manager or a knowledge admin. In order to create or edit a knowledge article, go to the self-service application and select Knowledge. From here, you can click Create an Article to create a brand new knowledge article, or if you need to make an edit to an article, you can search for it, open it from this page, and click Edit to make the change. We're going to go ahead and go back to a blank knowledge form just to go over all of the requirements for creating an article. First thing you want to do is select the knowledge base where the article should live. If you click the magnifying glass on that field, you'll see all of the knowledge bases that you have permission to submit articles to. I'm going to go ahead and select the IT Public Self-Help knowledge base. And you can use the information icon to get more information on that base, including who its managers are and what it's used for. While it's not required, it's recommended to select a category, configuration item, and article owner for every knowledge article. It is required to have a category and configuration item on any knowledge article that is public-facing and associated with a service overview page. If you want the article to appear on the overview page for a particular service, you need to include the correct configuration item for the system to display that correctly. Each knowledge base has different categories, so you can click on the magnifying glass to view the categories available for that base and select the one that makes the most sense for the article you're creating. Under the configuration item field, you can start typing the name of the service to see relevant options. You'll notice that a lot of services have multiples. That's because ServiceNow has both service offerings and business services listed as configuration items, and in many cases there's crossover. You can verify which you're using by selecting an item, hovering over the information icon, and looking in the top left corner of the pop-up box to see what type of service it is. In this case, it's an application. But since I want this article to appear on the ServiceNow Service Overview page, I don't want to be using the application. I want to be using the business service. So I selected the next one down on the list. I'm hovering over the information icon, and I'm viewing that this is the business service, so I know I've got the right configuration item. I will repeat that. If you want the article to appear under a particular service offering on the public site, you need to select the business service for that item. There are some services where you would select the service offering if you want to display the article lower on the page. For example, if you look at the UTBox Service Overview page, you'll see help information under UTBox Self-Help for getting started. These are knowledge articles that have been tied to the UTBox Business Service. The services listed in the shaded boxes are service offerings. If you need to tie a knowledge article to a particular service offering, you would select that particular service offering and the article would appear in the self-help under the offering rather than the self-help under the full service overview page. Returning to the knowledge article form, we're back to the article owner field. The article owner field will designate who will receive email notifications when this article is up for review. If this field is left blank, the knowledge managers on the base where the article lives will be pinged for reviewing the article in lieu of an article owner. It's always nice to include an article owner though, just to make sure that if anybody is ever reviewing this article or has any questions about it, they know who to contact. The publish date will fill in by default, but you can use Calendar to set a publish date in the future if you don't want it to go out immediately after review. The valid to date is actually going to be updated to say review by date, and this is the date that the article needs to be reviewed for accuracy. By default, this is going to be set to a year from the date of creating the article, but you can always manually change it. The retired date shows when the article is retired and removed from circulation once it gets to that point in the workflow. The article type should be HTML by default, and there's no reason to change that. The workflow field will show within the knowledge workflow the article is at. Since this is a brand new article, it is in draft state. The attachment link and display attachments boxes can be used if you add attachments to the knowledge article, things like images, PowerPoint presentations, PDFs, and so on. Using to an internal knowledge base that's accessed by fulfillers only. What this will do is it will provide a download link to any and all attachments that you add to your knowledge article so that fulfillers can quickly access and download those files. The meta box is used for tags to help your article come up in searches. When people are searching for knowledge articles, the system is automatically going to scan the short description and text fields. But if there's any keywords or terms that are not in your short description or text fields, make sure that they're in your meta tags so that the articles will come up in appropriate searches. One suggestion for appropriately using meta tags is for words that are frequently spelled in different ways. For example, some users might use email, while others might use e-mail. If the article is about email, but you always use e-mail in the body, make sure that you have the variation of spelling in your meta tags. Another great use of meta tags is acronyms. So if your service has a popular acronym associated with it that is not used in the body of the article, you might want to include that in meta tags. Next, you move to the actual body of the article. The short description is essentially the title of the knowledge article. Try to make it as detailed as possible so that when fulfillers and end users are searching, they have a good idea what type of content they're going to find in your article based off of a brief snippet. Use the text field to create the body of the article. Clicking the plus and minus signs will expand and reduce the size of the screen that you have to work with. This is just a basic HTML editor. You can use it to make changes to the font style. You can add links. You can add images and videos, or you can go into the source code to do basic HTML editing on the article. This is where we might want to talk about attachments. There are two ways to add attachments to a knowledge article. One is to go in through the insert edit image or insert edit video. These can only be used for these particular types of attachments, so you can't use these to add Word documents or things like that. Once you're in the Insert Modify Image screen, change the image type to Attachment, select Choose File to browse your computer and find the appropriate image, then click Attach to add it to the article. And if you want to go ahead and insert it in the body of the article, you can click OK once it's uploaded to do that. You also have the ability to make minor adjustments to the height and spacing and layout of the image. If I want to adjust the height and width on this, I can set 1, and the other will automatically keep the perspective by default. And now my image is inserted in the article. The simpler way to add attachments to a knowledge article is to simply drag and drop the file onto the article form. You may get a pop-up warning you that file attachments are not allowed. You can ignore that. You will see at the top of the screen that the attachment is in fact being added. And this is how you would add an attachment for a non-image or video file. Again, these are only really going to be useful for internal knowledge bases and articles, as we will not be able to display these attachments on public-facing knowledge articles. There's one final field on the knowledge article form for internal-only info. This field can be used to put internal information on a knowledge article that is otherwise publicly visible. What that means is any user will be able to see the information in the text area, but only users with ITIL or ServiceNow Fulfiller permission will be able to view information in the internal only field. This is a nice way
Once you've
to
reviewed
break
all
up
of your
information. You can click Save to keep the article in draft state and return to do more edits on it in the future, or you can click Submit to submit the article to the knowledge base managers for review. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And if I wanted to make any updates to this, I would do that by returning to the self-service application and selecting My Knowledge Articles from the navigation panel. Here I'll see every knowledge article that I've created. If I want to view only the ones in draft state, I can use the settings gear to add a column header for workflow. And once I do that, I'll be able to see whether these articles are published, in draft state, or retired. All these articles are published, so I'm going to go ahead and right-click and filter out all of the published articles. So now I can see all of the ones that I'm in progress of working on. Here's the article that I was just working on. I'm going to go ahead and make some quick changes to it, save it again, and now I think I'm ready to submit it for review. So I'm going to go ahead and select Publish at the top of the screen. Now you'll see the article is in review state, which means it's been sent to the knowledge managers for that knowledge base to review. Once they've reviewed and approved the article, I'll see that the article is in published state.